It's the midway point of the season, and the NFL landscape is starting to shape which teams will make the playoffs and which will be left out in the cold. Some teams have a losing record, but fans shouldn't give up on them just yet. Here are some teams that are below 500 on the season and that still have a chance to turn things around. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It started so well for the Bucs, winning their opening 2 games and looking to easily win their division. They have the GOAT of quarterbacks steering the ship, the offensive weapons at the wide receiver and running back positions, and a solid defense that should be feared. But after picking up 3 losses in a row, the wheels on the Tom Brady bus seem to be unhinged and coming off at an alarming pace. But there is some good news. Brady did announce that he's getting divorced and will surely take out his anger and frustration on the field. If Brady bounces back, so will the team. This means running back Leonard Fournette will go back to being a player that is trending toward being a threat. So their remaining games see them facing 5 teams that have a regular season record that is under 500 and divisional rival in the Falcons on the last day of the season, which should be beatable. In fact, that game could decide who wins the division. Another team that has a losing record and whose hopes rest on winning the same division is the New Orleans Saints. The Saints just broke a 2-game losing streak by annihilating the Las Vegas Raiders 24-0. That's right, the Saints contain that deadly Raiders offense. They prevented a team that has Davante Adams and the on-form Josh Jacobs from scoring any points. That justification is enough to have some optimism about this Saints team, who are 3-5 on the season. But they do have a pattern of going on losing streaks after a win. After they won on opening day, the Saints went on a 3-game losing streak. Once they snapped that streak, they went on to lose 2 more. It does sound gloomy if patterns are meant to be respected, but hey, they shouldn't. Not with this team. The Saints have a knack for being the most unpredictable team in the NFL. No one knows who is starting at quarterback, whether it's Jameis Winston or Andy Dalton. And in mid-game, Taysom Hill could pop up and play behind the center. No one knows which wide receiver will suit up given the injuries to Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry. This team is an enigma, and that's how they like it. Again, they are in a division where the best team has a 500 record. The NFC South is up for grabs, and the Saints can easily go snatch it. They play 6 teams that have losing records and also face the Atlanta Falcons, who are again beatable. Anything can happen with the Saints, and they certainly can turn it around. But one team that will struggle to turn things around is the Jacksonville Jaguars. With only 2 wins from 6 games, it seems unlikely that they will finish in the playoff spots, but it's not yet impossible because they have incredible players on both sides of the ball. And they also have a Super Bowl winning head coach in Doug Peterson, managing everything from the sidelines. The Jaguars are in a division that will most likely be won by the Tennessee Titans, but they can still fight to be in one of the 3 wild card spots. They have nothing else to do but fight, given that their season and their jobs are on the line. The Jaguars have already shipped away one of their main running backs, James Robinson, to the Jets, thinking that they could rely on Travis Etienne Jr. in their last game against the Broncos in London. And it shows they made the right decision. He looked exceptional. He had quick initial burst, he was explosive, lively, and looked like a player who was playing on a 6-2 team rather than a 2-6 team. The Jaguars have a tough schedule, but that's how they like it. They want to be the underdog in most of those games because it takes the pressure off of them and places it on their opponents. If quarterback Trevor Lawrence continues to limit his mistakes, if Etienne delivers on the ground and the defense remains a solid threat, the Jacksonville Jaguars could be the surprise team that squeaks in one of the wild card spots. A team that shouldn't be in a position to squeak in a wild card slot is the iconic Green Bay Packers. They are 3-5 after losing on Sunday night to the Buffalo Bills, who are Super Bowl favorites. It is a loss that was expected, since the Packers had to travel to Buffalo to face one of the most potent offenses in the NFL. Now, you can forgive and forget, but what you will remember is how inefficient quarterback Aaron Rodgers has been all season. While he's throwing the ball really well, especially the deep ball, Rodgers is looking like someone who misses Davante Adams. It is clear this team needs just one elite receiver for Rodgers to launch the ball towards, because it has rendered their offense predictable. It's a run and pass to the running backs heavy offense. Defenses know that the Packers only have running back Aaron Jones as a legitimate threat. Clearly, it's not enough to make the playoffs, but would you want to count out the Packers? Do you want to bet against Aaron Rodgers with 9 games to go? Did you see their remaining schedule? Despite playing the Lions twice and the Bears once, the Packers have to face some tough defenses. It's not an impossible job to win the division, and given the landscape in the NFC, a team with 10 wins can easily earn a wild card spot. Betting against the Packers led by Aaron Rodgers is not a wise move, but it certainly has made it slightly easier this year. Another NFC team that isn't making it any easier on themselves is the Los Angeles Rams, who have 3 wins from 7 games. The Super Bowl champs are experiencing a hangover from their victory in February and have yet to show their dominance on the field. This is yet another team that has a predictable pattern on the offensive side of the ball. Defenses know that Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford is always looking for elite wide receiver Cooper Kupp, and most of the time, it works. But the Rams don't have a running game, and that is deeply hurting their strategy. But that is not to say that they can't turn things around by improving the personnel in the running back department by scheming new plays to catch opposing defenses off guard. They have a Super Bowl winning coach in their corner and a schedule that looks somewhat favorable. They play 6 teams with a record below 500 and the Geno Smith Seahawks twice. Those 2 games against the Seahawks, one of which is on the last day of the season, could determine who wins the NFC West. Still, the Rams have the brain and the muscle to turn things around. Another team from that same division that will also have hopes of turning things around is the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are 3-5 after losing to the Vikings, where there's no shame in that, but there should be some on the shoulders of head coach Cliff Kingsbury, who isn't letting Kyler Murray express himself. The Cardinals have a star quarterback who they drafted number 1 overall, and they are not letting him play. It's as though you bought a new phone just so that you can check the clock and calendar and just ignore all the other features. Murray is capable of doing more than just passing, and he proved it to his head coach in Week 6 defeat at Seattle, where he rushed for 100 yards from 10 attempts. There seems to be a disconnect between the coach and the player, and that was evident in Week 7 on Thursday night when Murray was yelling at his coach. It all seems gloomy, but this Cardinals team has the arsenal to put up some serious points. With the return of elite receiver DeAndre Hopkins, the acquisition of Robbie Anderson, the slot play of speedster Rondale Moore, quarterback Kyler Murray has some options. All the Cardinals need is trust. Let Kingsbury trust Murray and have Murray trust Kingsbury. Once they are on the same page, they will be a tough team to stop. Other notable teams who have a shot at turning things around are the Denver Broncos, who are 3-5, the Indianapolis Colts, who are 3-4-1, and the Las Vegas Raiders at 2-5. All 3 teams have elite players on their roster, whether it is at the quarterback position for the Broncos in the shape of Russell Wilson, whether it's Colts running back Jonathan Taylor, or Devontae Adams, wide receiver for the Raiders. The potential is there. It's up to the teams to fulfill it. Which team will most likely turn their season around? Who has the better shot at making the playoffs? Please let us know in the comments below, but before you go, if you still want to watch some awesome NFL content like this, please watch the next video that will pop on your screen.